Howdy folks, and today we're looking at how to paint Cold One Knights for Lizardmen, or as they're known as for Seraphon, Aggradon Lancers. So first of all you want to prime your models black, and then you want to do a white highlight for the Vallejo. Through an airbrush makes it a lot easier, but you can do this by hand. For the riders, after we've done the white highlight, we're using the blue, and that blue is French blue from Vallejo. So yeah, here you can just see the riders that I've done. After we've done that, we're going to be using light sea blue, and we're avoiding all the scales on this, and we're trying to basically do all the soft underbelly parts like the belly, a little bit on the arms, etc. So for our cold one, we're going to be using sand beige from Vallejo, and that's sort of the first colour we're doing. Once again, the underbelly in this colour. I thought I'd work on a banner at the same time, and I have used sea grey from the Vallejo range, just so it's a lot faster for me to paint it that way. And after that, I've done a highlight of light grey. So then we go back to working on our cold one, and here I am using Beastie Brown, and we're sort of using that as the middle ground for the colours. So on the top we're going to be using Sun Yellow from Vallejo. I believe you get quite a nice effect with those. I haven't had any yellow dinosaurs in my list yet, so I thought, why not? I'll give it a go. So here I'm using my favourite red colour, which is Fire Red from Vallejo, and we're just doing all the feathers in that particular colour. The shields, I have decided to use Retributor armour. That's the gold, my go-to gold that I use, so that's what I'm using here. And the little thrones / saddles that the riders are sitting on, we have gone back to using sea grey that we used on our banner, and we're just doing the thrones in sea grey. So now we're just moving on to doing a pin wash on our entire model, and we're using Agrax Earthshade, and you're literally trying to sort of get it in the recessed areas and try not to get it on any of the scales. If you do, try and sort of blend it with your finger like I have, and you sort of can't really see it really. So here I'm just working on some more feathers that we've done earlier, because I realised there's actually quite a few other feathers that I've missed, and we're just using Vallejo White followed by Fire Red, and that's just to match for the feathers that are on our cold ones. So for the gold parts, we're using Retributor armour. I'm not sure whether that was the right call, as on the artwork I think they're made out of stone, which I thought was a little bit odd, but I just went for the gold to match with the rest of my army. I think that's very important if you've got a colourful army like mine, where each squad is a different colour. You need colours that will bring it all together. So just doing the same on the rider. Yeah, just take your time with this. You don't really want to mess it up. You don't want to get it on the blue. For the spears, we're using aggradon black. I'd recommend thinning it down a little bit, just so it's a lot easier to work on, and so it doesn't dry, all clumpy. Once again, we're using aggradon black on, I suppose this is part of a saddle, but I guess perhaps maybe it's leather or just some sort of normal cloth, but I've decided to use aggradon black on this. All of the golden parts we're using Reikland Flesh Shade now, and that's just to create depth to all the gold that we've just done, and that's going to be used on the rider as well as the mount. Yep, as you can see now, we're applying Reikland Flesh Shade to the mount as well. And actually what I found is once we applied Reikland Flesh Shade to the gold parts there, it made them stand out a lot better. The eyes, we have used Corax White. Just be really careful with this, try not to get it on the yellow, because otherwise it's going to be a bit of a pain to try and fix it. For the silver part of the spear, we're using Lead Belcher. So I've just used some Agrax Earthshade around the mouth area to make it a lot more three-dimensional. Here I'm using Tyrant Skull on the base, and the bases have been done to match with the rest of our army that we have, which is just a Rhinox hide base, followed by a Beastie Brown highlight. Not really much to it, but I've already done a couple of videos where I'm using that same technique for the basing, so you can check out any of the other videos for it. Here I'm just using Null Oil, and I'm just shading in some of those parts that we've done sea grey, as well as the silver part tip of the spear. To speed up the process of doing the gold, I thought I might as well try and do a dry brush of Retributor armor over the shields. The teeth of the cold one, as well as the claws and the teeth on the rider, we're using Xandri Dust. And this is my go-to base colour for doing all the claws. So here we're using Screamer Pink for the tongue, and that's for the tongue of the rider as well as the cold one's tongue. So the claws and the scales on the cold one, I've decided to do Rhinox hide. I've tried actually doing several different colours. I've tried a lighter brown, like Mournfang brown. I tried doing them Xandri Dust. I tried doing them a Shabti Bone. I didn't really like the way it come out, so I decided to go for a darker colour, which would have been Rhinox hide. So the teeth, the claws, we're doing a highlight of a Shabti Bone on those. It really makes them stand out after that highlight. Yeah, just going back in and doing the spikes on his body and the cold one's body. And this is because I've done a couple of test models like I've already mentioned, and I wasn't really sure what colour to use. So yeah, I ended up settling on Rhinox hide. So the leather part of the spear, I have used Doomball Brown. And I actually ran out of the colour, and I had to go to a hobby store, and it turned out that local GW was shut. So I found out that in Hobbycraft they now sell GW products. So I ended up going to Hobbycraft and picking up the paint that I was after. So yeah, we're just using Doomball Brown on all the strings as well. take your time with this. You don't want to get it on, any of the other colours that you've done already, because it's going to be quite tricky to touch up the yellow. So now we're just using thinned down Agrax Earthshade all over the string parts, and we're also going to be using it on the spear where we've used the same colour. And also, let's not forget the tongue and the mouth area where we're using that Agrax as well. To make the spear a little bit more interesting, I decided to use Necron Compound. I find it really tricky to do the eyes on the Saurus Warriors, actually. The Cold One Riders, I guess they're called. Anyway, there we used Avalon Sunset in the eyes. It is very tricky, but quite rewarding. And on the base, the rim of the base, we'll use the Balan Black. Here I've decided to do a highlight of light grey on some of those parts of the drummer stick, I guess. So yeah, that's the complete models. I think this was a quick guide. We could have worked more and more on them. There is a lot more things that you could have done a lot more highlights. But these are tabletop ready, and you'll be able to run down the foes of the old ones on your cold ones. Have a good one. Bye bye.